Welcome everyone to the eMedica AKT Pass Guarantee Program. It's the 150-day program for the October 2023 exam. So welcome to orientation. So what we're going to cover today is really an opportunity for you to meet the team, understand how does the program work, how do you complete your daily task, how do you submit your work for the weekly tasks, a chance for you to ask any questions that you'd like about the program. So use the chat as you have been doing to get involved in the discussion or pass any comments. Only the faculty can see those comments. If you've got a question that you'd like myself or the team to answer, please use the Q&A rather than the chat. That's because as other people use the comments, they sort of disappear, whereas in the Q&A, it will stay there. So the chat looks like this, the Q&A looks slightly different. Okay? I want to remind you of this. For those that have already got your welcome pack, you will have seen, there's an image of this printed in your welcome pack. For those that haven't got it, if you've joined recently, your welcome pack will be with you shortly. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's a very famous saying from Lao Tzu. And really, for a lot of people, it can seem like preparing for AKT is a journey of 1,000 miles. The curriculum's so big, sometimes it can be overwhelming, the amount of topics that need to be covered. Sometimes people just don't know where to cover. So first thing is that, well done on taking that big first step on joining a structured program. And thank you for putting your trust in myself and the team. Now, all you need to do is just focus on the step in front of you. Okay, you don't have to worry about, look, there's a lot of steps there. Just worry about this is today, orientation. Then when you get the first email, worry about that. And when you get the next email, worry about that. Just focus one step at a time. And before you know it, you're going to look back and you've already covered so much. And then suddenly the results are here and you've passed. And you're going to wonder, wow, where did that time go? Okay, I promise you. So unique today in that we're having orientation for October, but the results have just come out for April. I'll share some of the emails that I got at the end. Some of these have literally come in like half an hour ago. Okay, but they were at the start of this program. They were also wondering, how will I cover it all? There's so much, but they took that first step, joining a structured program. After that, you just need to focus. We'll take care of structuring it and telling you what to do. You just need to do the work, one step at a time, okay? So welcome to the program and let's meet the team. So for those that haven't met me before, my name is Muhibbur Rahman. I'm a portfolio GP and the medical director of eMedica. So portfolio GP is a GP with different roles. So my clinical roles, I'm a partner in my own practice. I'm one of the senior GPs at a secure unit for women with significant mental health, and I cover a community detox unit in the community. My main role now is in medical education. So as part of my role at eMedica, I help to develop new learning materials, make sure things are up to date. I teach the courses, but I also do consulting work for people like the MPS. We help them develop programs for trainees all over the UK. We've run collaborative courses for various deaneries, health education, East of England, KSS, Lincoln, some of the schemes in London, and we've run joint courses with MRCGP as well in the past. I did my own GP training in Neath Tower in South Wales and passed MRCGP with merit back in 2007. And I got FRCGP a few years ago for my work in medical education and humanitarian medicine. I'm one of the authors of the prescribing safety assessment. I have been writing about MRCGP for a long time. And I recently joined the NICE reference GP panel. I was an examiner for the GMC and I continue to examine for Liverpool Medical School for OSCEs. Let me introduce you to other members of the team that will be on faculty for the talk courses. So Masuda Rahman is Director of E-Learning at eMedica. She's going to be faculty at all of the courses and is also involved in helping to develop, make sure that our course material and online materials are up to date, as well as answering questions and being part of the faculty at the talk session. So I'm just going to hand you over to Masuda.
Okay, so I just wanted to say welcome to the Pass Guarantee Programme. We are going to be spending a lot of time together over the next 5 months. You're going to be surprised how quickly all of our names become familiar to you and how quickly those emails become part of your daily routines, and your study habits and your knowledge base is going to start to grow. We're not going to see you face to face, but we will be seeing your work coming in every other day and then every day later on. You're going to be surprised, we're always surprised how well we feel like we still get to know you, even though we're not in a room together. We're going to know you through the webinars, through the questions you're asking, through the chat. So really, this is just to say, it may not be easy Learning takes effort and it is hard. Please remember that you're not going to be alone for any part of this. We're here to support you. The whole team is here. Please get involved in the study group, ask questions on the webinars, email us. That's what we're here for. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Should I hand you over to Anna? So Anna Greathead is another core member of the eMedica e-learning team. She's the main eMedica admin contact for the WhatsApp group. We set up a WhatsApp group for each cohort. So this will be specifically for your group that are sitting the 150-day program for October. And again, Anna will be on the faculty for the courses and the webinars and helps us to make sure, our materials are all where they should be. I'll hand you over to Anna.
Hello. I feel like I know I'm meeting you for the first time, but I know, as Masuda said, in a few months' time, I'll feel like I know you very well. It's one of the great joys of the PGP is we get to see people really making progress and really preparing well for their AKT, but also becoming better doctors in the meantime, because they're learning really good technique, their knowledge base is expanding, and it's always really exciting and great to see that. If at the beginning of this program, I can offer you 3 short pieces of advice that really will stand you in good stead. And the first is really commit to this program. It is intense and it is difficult, but it does really work. But it works when you really commit to it. If you slack off a little bit, give yourself a day off here, there, or whatever, then it's really hard to catch up and you really don't get the full benefit of the program. And we really want you to get everything out of it. And the second thing is to be as organised as possible. It's amazing how much time people can lose by not being able to find an email or not being able to find a particular document. So, try and get organised, keep your notes in one place, all of that sort of thing. It sounds really, really obvious, but I know when you're very busy, it can feel like one extra step to do, but it really will pay dividends. And finally, and most importantly, I encourage you to really trust the process. At the beginning, people can sometimes feel a bit disheartened because their scores feel low and they feel like they don't know anything. Well, it's because we're teaching you things and we don't expect you to know things that you haven't yet been taught. So trust the process. You'll be amazed at the end of 5 months how much you've learned and how far you've come. And we cannot wait to, in 6 months' time, be getting emails from you all saying that you've smashed that exam and you've got a great result. So looking forward to it, and I'll see lots of you soon.
Much, Anna, and introduce you to Dr. Kennedy Umej, who is our AKT mentor. Now, what's unique about Kennedy is that he was sitting where you are a couple of years ago now. He sat one of the earlier AKT Pass Guarantee programs. Having completed the program, he went on to score 95% overall in the AKT, one of the highest scores ever recorded. And since that time, actually, he's really interested and passionate about teaching and supporting others. And he's been supporting us as a mentor within the WhatsApp groups. And Kennedy's recently finished his training. He's a qualified GP now. He's taken on, several roles. And we're really pleased that one of those roles is that he's, become a long-term member of the eMedica team and he's going to be joining here. So he's going to pass on some advice.
All right. So it's nice to meet all of you, though we're going to meet in a forum fully. Like he said, I was once like you. I came into the Pass Guarantee program with some form of anxiety, worried, because I've heard that AKT was very difficult, especially for international medical graduates. And then for a man with 4 children, I was worried and wondering how I was going to do it. With all my busy schedule, I was doing emergency department locums, trying to provide for my family. But then I was told about this Pass Guarantee program because I knew I needed structure. I needed structure, and that was what I got from the Pass Guarantee program. It will structure your program. It will let you know what to study. It will let you know what to read, and you cover all the curriculum. So, but then what I told myself was, because, studying, I considered myself as an adult education, I needed to work hard. I needed to even work harder than everyone. From day one, I had my target. I didn't just want to be an average, average player in the Pass Guarantee program. I wanted to give it my all. I didn't want to leave any day task undone. And I told my family, and they worked with me, and I made sure that every day I finished my task, and I did some extra to keep myself going. I had a target. Like I said, I didn't want to just be average. Usually what I find out that people come in and they say, oh, they hear that AKT is so voluminous, what to cover. And then they have just the minimal target set for themselves. No, if you set a target of 60%, you may fall to 50, and that is low. Set your target, set it high, and start from day one. Set it like 80%, and keep working hard. You may actually beat it or even fall below, and you fall like 78%. And that's a very, very fantastic part. Some people will say they are so busy, they are so committed, they can't make it. You can. If I tell you, how I did it, you work on yourself, work on your social media presence, work on your Netflix a number of hours, work on your YouTube. And like he said, right now, I'm the diabetic lead in my practice. I still do my emergency department locums. I work out of hours duty. Right now, I'm doing my master's program in diabetes. I'm trying to complete my diploma in child health. People will say, oh, how come do you have all this time? You'll be surprised the amount of time you will have if you can cut off from social media to the barest minimum, reduce your YouTube presence, reduce your Netflix, not eliminate completely. You will still have time for family and other things. But do that and start from today. I'll be meeting most of you. I'm meeting all of you in the WhatsApp forum. In that place, I'll be sharing with you my exam techniques, how I was able to score 95% in AKT. I would help you address questions that are very difficult for you. And then I would encourage us to keep giving our best. So I'll meet all of you in the WhatsApp forum.
Great. Thanks very much, Kennedy. Nice to see you again. And I'll catch up with you soon. Okay, great. Yeah. So just other members of the team that you're going to get emails from, or if you have a contact eMedica, you might get a response from. They all have different roles to play. But one of the things that makes eMedica the success that it is, that allows us to support the doctors to their success, is that we have an elite team. Everyone in the team is amazing at what they do. We're all focused on helping you succeed. So, you may hear from or get emails from all of these different team members. Some of them will be processing the videos after each live session, so they go on the resources page. Some of them will sign you up for the different webinars, send you post-course materials, and so on. Okay, so let me explain how the program works. A couple of people have asked about the WhatsApp group. So in the first email, there'll be a link for you to join the WhatsApp group. You have to sign yourself up. We can't add you because of data protection. Okay, so you'll see the link when you get the first email. So let me explain how it works. The 150-day program, the first 4 months, so from the first day to the 120th day of the program, the first 4 months, you'll get an email every other day. And within that, there'll be a series of main tasks, the daily tasks that you've got to get done before the next email hits, within 48 hours. So the nice thing about the 150-day program is that, if you can't get everything done on the first day, it's okay. You can do some of it the second day in that first 4 months. Okay. If you can get most of it done or all of it done on the first day, the second day, you can revise some of the topics or have a bit of a break. Okay. In the last month, the last 30 days of the program, the work will intensify. So you will get an email every day, and you've got to finish the daily tasks within 24 hours. That's in the last month, okay, where we've got to increase that intensity. So within the email, there'll be links for a question of the day to do, sometimes 2 on weekends, for example. There tends to be twice the amount, okay? And once you've done the question of the day, you will then also click through the links and read the relevant guidelines. There'll be a set of online questions to do. There'll be reading for you to do to start preparing for things that are going to come in the future. So some of that will be from the Oxford Handbook of General Practice. Sometimes there'll be links to NICE CKS. There'll be, alongside the daily tasks, there'll be learning exercises that come as part of the weekly tasks. Now, these differ each week. So sometimes there'll be some videos that we'll ask you to watch, then answer a quiz to make sure you've actually learned the material. There might be some exercises where we get you to work on areas that you're less confident in. There might be additional online revision questions from the RCGP self-test to expose you to a different question bank. Sometimes we'll get you to do RCGP knowledge challenges, okay? I'll show you later exactly what an email looks like and how to work through it, okay? Now, I mentioned that some of the core reading will be from the Oxford Handbook of General Practice. A lot of you will already have this because it's core reading for GP training. So, a lot of people get it when they're in their ST1 year or even before they start. Now, as long as you've got the 5th edition, that's fine. If anybody, maybe, you had an older version or someone passed it on to you, the 4th edition, that's no good, okay? Because we'll tell you which pages to read from. If you haven't got the 5th edition, please order it. You can still get it now from Amazon. It will come next day. Someone will post that link to you into the chat, okay? But it must be the 5th edition. Now, even the 5th edition, because it was published in 2020, there are some guidelines that have changed since then. this is a base. It's going to give you some idea. Where things have changed since then, don't worry, we will cover the latest guidelines in the talk sessions, the webinars, so you'll see some things you'll be updated on so that you have the latest material, but it's got good base background reading to get you started for some areas, okay? And then something that I'd like you to do is really, we mentioned earlier, there's a lot to cover, right? It's a lot of hard work. So it's important that you enjoy the little wins, take small victories to help boost your motivation. So within your welcome pack, there's a daily progress tracker, there's a curriculum checklist, there's a program timetable. So the daily progress tracker looks like this. When you've finished working through everything in the email, and you think, okay, I'm done with everything in email number 1, okay? I want you to tick it. Put this on your notice board, pin it so you can actually see it. Can you see it? Because then when you get to the end of the column, you think, you know what? I'm nearly, day 22 of 90, I'm like just over a quarter of the way there, okay? When you get here, I'm halfway. When you get here, I'm nearly at that last phase now. When you get here and you see all of this is ticked, you look back, similarly, the curriculum checklist, okay? The printed version, you can actually tick it off. So we've got the clinical section, the stats, the organizational. By the end of it, you will have covered all of it. At the beginning, it's all empty, right? So let's say now, early on, you've done one of these topics, tick it. You've done now some stats, tick it. You've done one of these admin topics, tick it. As you get through the program and you see more and more ticks, particularly, like the night before the exam, you're going to look back at this. You're going to see all of this is ticked. You're going to see every single topic is ticked. You're going to give you a real boost to your confidence. You know what? I know I've covered every key topic in the curriculum. I'm ready for this exam. It's going to help you really go into the exam confident, okay? Now, the resources page, which is specific to your cohort, again, there'll be a link to this in every single email that you get. At the bottom of the email, there's this green button, resources page, okay? When you click that, it will have links to key resources, frequently asked questions about the program, links to the recording for every live session. As soon as it's processed, you don't need to email us, you don't need to ask us, automatically it will go there, okay? So look, by the end, you've got all of these core things that you can click through, okay? But by the end, for example, High Yield Webinar 1, the recording will be there. You'll be able to download the topic review and the post-course links. High Yield 2, the full day courses, they'll all be there. If I show you what it looks like right now, then at the moment, it just has the core thing. So when you get the first email on Saturday, there'll be a link to it, okay? But for example, like there'll be a link to the orientation video, i.e. the video that session that we're in right now. If you want to watch back any of it later, you'll be able to click this and it will take you to that video, okay? You'll be able to download your timetable. You'll be able to download the curriculum guide. Let's say your paper one's at home and you're at work and you want to check, where am I? Is there a topic that I wanted to just check on? You'll be able to download it. Let's say now, after you've done your questions, if there's some topics that you feel less confident in and you think, you know what, I want to read in a bit more detail about this, and you can't find where to read it, we've compiled some reading links. So for example, let's say you've done cardiovascular 1 questions. And think, I'd like some additional reading links. You'll be able to click that and download some links that you can click for further reading if you want to. That's if if you're not sure where to, if you didn't do well in a topic and you want additional material, okay? There's frequently asked questions. And then here, can you see it's blank? Later on, after every talk session, once we process the video, which will take a couple of days, automatically the video will appear, okay? And so by the end, you'll have videos for everything there, all right? So let me show you the first 2 emails, okay? Because you're actually going to get the first email. The program starts on Sunday. But you're actually going to get the first email on Saturday. And all that email is going to have is a link to this recording. So I'll show you. Here's first email, okay? So the first email, it's a welcome email. It'll just tell you that you'll be able to watch the video back. You'll be able to join the WhatsApp group. So when you click this link, you sign up yourself with whichever number you want, okay? And then it's going to tell you, now this looks scary. There's a lot of reading here, right? That's because on the weekend, you tend to do more questions, right? You do double the amount compared to weekdays. So you'll be able to start saying, okay, I'm going to read some of these things from the Oxford Handbook beforehand, because you can see there's no questions to do here because we haven't actually started. The program starts on Sunday. It's just giving you some reading to do before we start. So when you start doing questions, you feel like I've already learned some things and now I'm going to see if I can actually understand it and answer questions. Okay. And then there'll be a reminder of the next live session. So next live session's on the 7th of June. Okay. And can you see this links back to that resource page. So every single email, that green button at the bottom links to your resource page. Okay. So that's the day 0 email, if you like, because it's the welcome email. Let me show you day 1, which is a typical email, and then I'll just show you how to go through it. Okay, so here's day 1. Okay. So if you scroll down, there's a welcome exercise which is specific to just day 1. And that is that we want you to start thinking about some topics. So put your name here, use the same email throughout the whole program, please. Okay, so that we can, keep a track of which areas you need more work on. But think about specific things that you feel, I'm not confident in this, or this has always been an area that's troubled me. I always find if I get a case with this or get a patient with this, I feel a bit nervous, because we want you to master some of these weaknesses right at the beginning. So I want you to be specific. You can see it's got to be something that you can do in a day, because then over the first few days, you're going to cover each of these. So for example, many years you could cover in a day. There's no point in saying, I'm scared of the whole of ENT. You can't cover the whole of ENT in one day, can you? Okay. So once you put these topics, we're going to ask you to learn about these topics. And part of your first weekly task is to produce a topic review to show us that you've actually learned some of these things. Okay. Again, there'll be a link to watch back the orientation video if you want, another link to remind you of the WhatsApp group in case you didn't already join, and then the main work. So the daily tasks. On the weekend, there's 2 questions of the day. On weekdays, there's 1. So you put your email. I'm just going to put the eMedica email here. As I mentioned, make sure you use the same email each day. So you've got a question. Select the answer that you think is correct. Whether you get it right or wrong, there'll be an explanation to read. And after you've read the explanation, click through the link to read the recommended guideline. Okay, so that you've actually understood the subject. Okay, there's going to be another one, okay, because it's a weekend. Then again, on the weekend, there's 2 sections of questions from the online revision. On weekdays, there'll be 1. You know, when you first click this, you'll have to sign in, okay? I've already signed in, so I don't need to put my password in again. But again, you're going to put your name. And you're going to put your email that you registered with. And so once you do the questions, if you get it right, it might be that reading this is enough because you've got a good handle on it, right? If you get it wrong, it might be that you want to read up a little bit more about it. And this is where, if you can't find your own sources of where to read it, Oxford Handbook, the relevant NICE guideline, you can look through those links that I showed you earlier on the resource page to help you, okay? And when you get to the 20th question, it will automatically submit to us your scores, and we'll track this throughout the program so that in the last part of the program, each of you will be given a unique targeted revision plan to target all your weaker areas based on the data that we've gathered throughout the early part of the program, okay? Then once you've done your questions, it tells you the case cards to review. So in your welcome box, there's physical case cards, right? But if you, again, let's say you wanting to do this at lunch break and you haven't got your physical cards with you, you can click to the digital cards. And because it says which ones, number 1 and number 2, okay, fine. So I can now find number 1. Okay, this is number 1 and number 2, and I can, read those and go over them, okay? And then it will tell you about your weekly task, remind you of the deadline for the weekly task. When you're ready to submit the weekly task, you click this, and that's where you'll do it, okay? Where you'll submit, upload, or whatever the relevant task is. Then it tells you some of the reading to do to start preparing for the next email. Remember, it's going to be in 48 hours. For the first 4 months, you have 48 hours before the next email hits. The last month, it's every day, 24 hours before the next email hits, okay? So that's how you work through the email. Start at the top, work your way down the bottom. And what you'll find is after a few days, you get your own groove. Some people prefer just to do everything exactly in that order. Other people, they like to do the questions, get up a bit early and do the questions before they go to work, so that when they come back from work, they might do some of the reading. And they might try and do the case cards at lunchtime or in between patients, if you get a patient that doesn't attend, for example. Other people might try to space it out across the 2 days. That's fine. You'll find your own rhythm and your own groove. Okay. please don't unsubscribe unless you genuinely want to leave the program. At the bottom of every email, as part of good data management, that we have to offer you an option to unsubscribe, so that we don't want to send someone an email they don't want to receive. Otherwise, we might be blocked by email providers because it can be marked as spam. So at the bottom, can you see it says you can unsubscribe here? If you click this, or if you click this one-click unsubscribe, you won't get any more emails from us. Okay. If you do it by mistake and you contact us, we'll try to add you back. But if you do it more than once, what happens is your email provider will put a block on us adding you back. Okay. Again, there's a link to the resources page at the bottom of every email. Okay. Now, just want to recap some keys to success, and then I'll open the floor to any questions. Okay. Mindset really matters. Michael Corder said, to succeed, we must first believe that we can. It's really important that you start the program with a vision in your mind that you're going to pass, because if you do the work, you will be prepared and you will pass. Whereas if you start with a negative mindset, if you start with the base thought right at the beginning is, I'm never going to pass AKT, what happens is, as soon as you start struggling, your mind shuts down. You actually don't take things in. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's really, really important, to start with a positive mindset from the beginning. You can do this and you will do this. Next, be consistent. Make sure you do your daily tasks on time. Be consistent with it. Make sure you do your weekly tasks on time and submit them. Lastly, focus on the learning, not your scores. As both Masood and Anna mentioned, we have hard questions because our purpose is to help you succeed. To do that, we want you to learn. And see, if we give you easy questions that are easier than the real exam, while you might feel good during the program, when you fail, you're going to be upset because we haven't actually done our job of preparing. Okay, so we have hard questions because research shows us that you learn more when you get something wrong and then have to understand why you got it wrong and spend time on it. Then sometimes if you get it right and you got it right by accident, you might get a false sense of security that I know all of this, and you might not do the learning, you see. So focus on the learning, not your scores. Most people in the program will have poor scores in most of our questions because they're at the hard end throughout the bulk of the program. And it's right at the end when you've actually learned most of the material, we've actually covered a lot of the teaching, that everything starts to click. And on the day of the exam, you're fine. Okay. So, if you get a question wrong, you have to look at it as, that's great. This means that I've covered a topic that I don't already know. So this is an opportunity for me to learn this well. Whereas if you look at this goes back to mindset. If you look at every question that you get wrong, oh no, I've got this wrong, I'm going to get them all wrong, I can never pass. You're not going to actually learn. Okay. It's normal to get questions wrong because you're here. Like if you already knew everything, you don't need to join a program. You see, we don't expect you're in training to be trained. We're going to help you get there. You see, so focus on the learning. See that these challenging questions are there. The purpose of them is to stimulate my learning. Do the learning and see every question that you get wrong as an opportunity to learn, not as a negative. Okay. And as I mentioned, I just really wanted to share this because normally the orientation isn't at the same time as results, but like these are fresh. Just an email and a WhatsApp message that I got just today. Like, look at this one. It's at 7:20. So now half an hour before we started, or just over that, it came through. This one came after this one. Okay. So, this is someone who's increased from 66 to 82. Okay. On the PGP. This is someone, again, on the PGP, they've passed with a clear margin. Just want to highlight that at the beginning, it can seem overwhelming, but stick to the work, focus on the learning, prepare, and you will succeed. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, anyone that's got any questions, please ask them in the Q&A rather than the chat. But for anyone that hasn't got any questions, really just want to say welcome to the program. I'm really looking forward to working with you throughout the program, with the whole team, and to remind you of this, that, thank you for taking this first step. We've finished this first step now. The next step will start on Saturday, and then the actual program starts on Sunday, okay? And then remember, every other day for the first 4 months, and then every day for the last month. So for those that haven't got any other questions, welcome to the program. Really looking forward to working with you. when you get that first email, join the WhatsApp program, watch back the video if you want to. If there's anything you want to go over, you'll be able to follow the resources page to look at any of those resources that you want. For those that recently joined, your welcome pack isn't already here. It will be here soon.